We back again. So, welcome to this next episode. With this next episode, obviously, it's going to be the same general kind of vibe. We're going to talk about some more manga, manhwa, and really whatever kind of hidden heat I feel like we should talk about. That honestly, I feel like people are low key hip to. I feel like there's a whole community of people who read manga or even the light novels. And so, yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. I want to talk again about Marshall Peak because, to my surprise, it actually didn't end. I thought they were going to end because the light novel is finished and it was leading up to where the light novel ended. So I thought it was just a foregone conclusion. But then when that point came and it wasn't like a goodbye note from the author and all that sentimental shit we're accustomed to at the end of all these mangas and manhwas and things like that, I was like, okay. And then another chapter came. Crazy plot. I was like, okay. So yeah, here we are, a continuation of the plot. And I'm not necessarily upset, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's interesting to see the story develop beyond the original story, and I'm always hesitant in any form of media or creation when things like that happen because it's like a unplanned plot. It's an unplanned story, and I don't know if the spirit of the original concept remains when you go on from kind of like uncharted territory. And I don't know if your frame of mind, if the author's frame of mind, if everything is, the same as it was when you created the original piece. And if that same energy from that is going to be replicated as we continue. So I don't know. We'll see. But the art is cool. It's interesting. But I'm not complaining so far. It's really just now progressing into the news story. So I'll see. I'll reserve judgment. But regardless, Marshall Peak is still fire. I think you should even be more excited to read it now, knowing that it's not over. It's not ending. So you can binge, catch up, and then just vibe. And it's a long binge. So you got time. And it's definitely one I'd recommend. I think it's worth it. And it's definitely it's gonna give you what you need in terms of your intake of manga and shit like that. All right. So after Marshall Peak, I think another one I want to talk about is Demonic Emperor. That one with Demonic Magical Emperor, right? Or whatever combination of that name with Zufan or Zofan, however you say these names. I'm going to butcher them every time because we only speak English over here, unfortunately. So, yeah, that one is dope. And I like it because it's kind of my personal, not first, but my first few into kind of the villain being the protagonist and the villain being the driving force and, quote unquote villain. Everybody kind of has sympathy to their story depending on the perspective. So I think that one is cool. I think, there's some sympathy to the character, but he's true to being a villain. And it's pretty cool to see that, I mean, we all know villains can be cool, but I think you can understand how manga and manhwa can really push that to the next level. Like I said, the villain being the protagonist. So it's like, all right, he's still kind of being a good guy, but don't forget that I'm a bad guy. So it's pretty cool. There's another one like that I'm gonna mention in a later episode, but just in terms of following the villain and the villain being the protagonist, whether he's actually, spreading mayhem and tyranny or, kind of being a good guy on the low. So yeah, Demonic Magic Emperor, I think it's super dope. It's another cultivation style. I'm gonna start name dropping the time periods, but you could imagine. And the progression I think is pretty good. I like the power scaling because he's strong, but he has to be tactical to win. He's not just overpowered for being overpowered's sake. And he takes considerable losses. It's not like shit is just sweet the whole way. And that's kind of what I like. I don't like when dudes are just overpowered relentlessly and they always just easily overcome every hurdle. I think that's no fun. So Zufan definitely doesn't do that. He kind of suffers a bit. And, maybe some of it is deserved for the villainy, but, it's for you to decide. But I think it's definitely worth the read. It's super dope. And so we'll see how that goes. The vibes I get from that, it has the potential to go on for years, honestly. But it also might be one of those ones that has just an amazing short run. Something similar to Solo Leveling, right? 200 chapters, bow, hit crazy, done. So I think it might do that, but we'll see. But yeah, demonic, magical emperor, shit is crazy. This next one we're talking about is the ultimate of all ages, or I think another name it has is the Eternal Supreme with Li Yun Zhao. Like I said, I'm gonna butcher it. Yeah, I think that one is pretty cool. It's a hidden sleeper because I think, it is the typical cultivation kind of reincarnation style, but as I read it more, I think it gets deeper and deeper and the depth is there. And I find different, as different as it can be from all these, there's so many different mangas and manhwas. What I like, once again, is the trials and tribulations of it all. This dude is reincarnated and, he was at the peak, of course, and now he's back to trying to get it. And, he's as strong as he could be, but it's unfortunately not enough. And as forces act against him, he really has to face that and reconcile with not being, who he thinks he is and having to work to get that. And there's some tough losses that he faces quite early on. So it's interesting to see how he overcomes, how the story progresses. I think the art is really good. What honestly I love is the comedy in it. I love when mangas or manhwas where they go like chibi and they have like the smaller cartoonish art style in between panels or in the middle panels to kind of express or show a joke. I think those are kind of adorable and they're always so funny. Here in this one, the ultimate of all ages, they do it to perfection. It's hilarious every single time. So this has kind of everything with the comedy, with the action, with the depth of the plot, with a bit of mystery, because a lot of things you really don't know. And, the action is, of course, there. As always, I need action first and foremost, kind of action plot. So, yeah, those three. I guess, unfortunately I recycled Monster Peak, but I had to because I said it was finishing. So I had to come back and correct because it's not finishing. So enjoy. I'm going to enjoy it. And then, yeah, Demonic Magical Emperor. It's peak, I would say. I might use that a lot throughout this because I only read shit that's peak. Do with that what you will. And then, yes, the Eternal Supreme, Ultimate of All Ages is also another name it goes by. Yeah, those are dope. Yeah, so those another three ones that are just heat. So, check them out. Thanks for tuning in. And, let me know. Of course, always drop a like and subscribe in the comments. Let me know what manga you're on, what manhwa you're reading. Let me know what, you have that's heat. So we can all, get hip to the heat and we can all get that manga that we can inject into our veins. All right, yo. Peace.